Hey cats, what's happening? I got an update on the Yamaha. I told you guys I had been working on this gas cap, and I had fabricated this special washer or gasket for it, the rubber part there. I had searched extensively online, and the websites that I had used to buy parts said the part was no longer available, it was obsolete. Well, one of the websites that I have purchased things off of before for the bike has very recently updated their web page. It's all new. And I was like, oh, this is cool, and now it's got like full color pictures of the parts on there. So, I'm scrolling through the parts for my CT3, and what do you know? There's the rubber gasket for the gas cap, and it says right on there, formerly obsolete, now in production. And so I was able to get I went ahead and ordered one. So, I put all the work into fabricating this gasket on there, and it wasn't even necessary in the long run. But I didn't know that at the time. Regardless, I still had fun doing it. I mean, it's always interesting to play around and piddle around on these things. The other thing I was looking at, I had ordered the carburetor rebuild kit, but I'm looking at this thing and it's like, this is a Mikuni carburetor, and the part that they gave me, or that I ordered, which was for a 1973 CT3 Mikuni, is different. So that's not the right rebuild kit for this carburetor. So I'm going to have to do a little more research on that too, to make sure I get the right kit for the rebuild. And it's a pretty simple rebuild. It's just a couple gaskets, the float pin and spring. I can, if the float bowl has got water in it, or it's in bad shape, I can order a new float bowl for it, a new float for it too. But the float should be okay. I'll take it apart and see what I need to do. That's a whole nother project though. I was able to clean most of the corrosion off of the gas cap though, and I can actually see my reflection in there now. There's a couple pits in the chrome that aren't going to come out, but anyway, I did that. But anyway, the other day I went to Harbor Freight again. There was a long time where I wouldn't go to that store because I said it was all junk. All they sold was junk. But anymore, I go there and I just can't get. I could spend all day in there, and I could spend a fortune in there. So I showed you guys, I tried pulling the dent out of the gas tank by putting the inner tube in there, inflating it, and it popped some of that dent out, but there's still some of it left in there, and then there's this deeper dent back here. So I went to Harbor Freight and I bought this crossbar dent repair kit. It's got a hot glue gun, hot glue, and what you do is you hot glue the piece on there, and then there's a puller that you twist, and it should pop that out of there. So I haven't opened it yet, but I think I'm going to play around with this today and see exactly how it works. Okay, we've got a hot glue gun and 2 hot glue sticks and some other parts here. Well, I'm going to have to read the instructions on this and see exactly what I need to do. When all else fails, read the instructions. Sometimes you just surpass that point thinking, yeah, I know what to do on this, but I think I will read the instructions here. Now, the first thing it tells me to do is to put the glue stick in the glue gun, which I did. Pushed it all the way through. Plug the glue gun in and let it heat up for 10 or 15 minutes. So we got that going. Then I've got two different heads for this thing, and that's going to glue onto the tank. This one I think is a little too big, so I'm going to try using this smaller one, and I'm going to glue that onto this dent here and see if we can pull that out. Once you get this glued on, then you got this jig that fits over it, and you screw this handle on here and you keep tightening it and it pulls the dent out. So that's what we're going to do. First thing I want you to do though is clean the area with this release agent. So we'll just kind of wipe that all over there, and then with a clean cloth wipe it off real good and get that real clean. Alright, well, the glue gun has reached temperature now. The glue is, hot and melty. So I'm going to squeeze the trigger here and apply the hot glue right onto this tab, and then it says push the tab onto the dent, in the middle of the dent, which I'm doing, and hold it there for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, I'm going to just let that sit for a minute, make sure that glue is nice and cooled down. I'm still getting spider webs off of that, so it's definitely not cool yet. We'll just let that cool down till it gets, the gas tank's pretty cold, so we're going to let that cool down. And once it cools, we'll try pulling it out. I unplugged the glue gun. We're going to let it cool down until we're ready to do another job with it. But right now, we're just going to see how this thing works. Once it's cool enough, we'll take this jig. We're going to set it over the dent. Now you can slide these pads out so they're outside of the dent area. And then we screw this knob right onto the jig. And we're going to start to slowly tighten it down. That should pull that dent out of there. Let's see what it does. Well, something popped there. I think my the glue actually came off of the plastic thing, so I don't know, maybe my glue wasn't cool enough yet, but you know what? It did take some of that out, so I think I'm going to try it again and just, see what happens. All I can do. Maybe this time, I can use this bigger one and see what happens. It'll have more surface area to pull on. Alright, this time I've hot glued the small one on this big dent. We're going to see how that works, and I put the bigger one on this broader dent. So I'm going to let them cool for a little bit, and then I'll try pulling those and see what happens. Yeah, let's see what that did. It might have pulled it out just a little hair more. Maybe I'm not putting enough glue on there and it keeps popping off. But I'm going to try this one now. I don't think this one's going to come off so easy because it's a much deeper dent. But we're going to try it anyway and see what happens. Start cranking on it. It's still pulling. Whoa! Boy, when that glue breaks loose, it really goes with a bang. And it did pull that out some. Not a lot, but it pulled it out some. So, I'm going to keep going with this. I'm going to try doing this one more time. So the glue's really hot now, so I'm going to put a lot of glue on there. I'm going to push it right in the middle of that one. I'm just going to let that dry. This one is too big really to go on there, so I'm not sure that'll work. I might try the other one again on that though. I think this dent is pretty much out. The puller worked good on that, so I'm not going to bother with that anymore, but I did glue this small one back on here again, put plenty of glue on it. So we're going to try to pull that. I'm going to let that, I think key is you got to let that glue really cool down. If you try to pull it too soon, the glue is still soft in the middle. I mean, as I put my finger on there, I can actually feel it's still kind of warm. So the gas tank itself is cold, but right there where the glue is, it's still, that glue gets pretty hot. So I'm going to try this one more time and see what happens. I may have to do it a couple times, and I may get it out. I don't know. We'll see. This time I glued the bigger disc onto this one. The small one just kept popping off. It just didn't have enough surface area to do the pull. So let's try this bigger one. Tighten it and see if it'll pull. It's pulling pretty hard. I'm really having to crank on this thing. Whew. It came out just a little bit more. Still got some ways to go though. Well, through continued attempts, I think I got about as much of that out of there as I'm going to get. It's raised like a little lump in the middle there where I was pulling on it, but the dent was just a little too deep to pop out like this one did. This one came completely out. This one, you'd have to have a body man to get that out of there. So the dent puller worked pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. You know, I hope I never have to use it again, but you never know. But yeah, Harbor Freight, the Pittsburgh crossbar dent puller. complete package there, and I think it was about 15 bucks. So yeah, I'll spend 15 bucks to get that big dent out of the gas tank. Pretty pleased with it. Now I'm going to move on to my next step, which will be cleaning the rust out of that tank, and that'll be on another episode. Well, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this work out here in the man cave, hit me with a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and join me for some more wonderful times out here in the man cave, working on the old Yamaha CT3 175.